We have with us a very, very special Stephen Schwarzman. Thank you very much for joining us on the show, sir. 2016 has been a very rocky start. Were you expecting this to be as rocky a year as it's turning out to be?
Well, if it's this rocky for the rest of the year, there'll be no value left in the global equity markets. So no, I don't expect it to be this rocky.
It's not just the global equity action. If you look at the global commodity prices and the way they have crashed and the extent to which they have crashed, they tell us a thing or two about the world we live in.
Well, I think in the commodity area, that's been going on for quite some time. That's not a 2016 area, and that comes from the fact that China's needs for physical development are less than in other types of areas. And China historically has purchased 50% of the world's commodities. So one country has basically been responsible for setting the price and providing the demand, and they're not buying as much, and that's resulted in some decline. But the other thing, like oil, is that too many new mines have developed, and the growth of the world for the use of minerals can't keep up with that either. So it's sort of a double barrel problem.
I want to pick your brains on China because there are two camps. One camp believes that the Chinese economy is in transition. They will eventually sail through this. The other believes the Chinese economy is a mess. It's almost in a free fall. Which side of the two camps are you on?
Well, I think you don't have to be in either camp. You have to look at empirically what's happening. So what's happening is that the service sector is about 50% of Chinese economy, and the manufacturing sector is about the same.
That's right.
But the service sector is growing very fast. And as a result, last year, China hired 14.4 million people. That's more people than when they were growing at 10%.
That's right.
Because services are people intensive. So I think it's pretty clear that even though parts of the manufacturing sector, like steel, coal, and other things, are really depressed, that the fact that services are up and wages in China are up, which powers that part of the consumer. So I think it's logical to see the consumer continuing to develop. That's the business plan for the country.
I have a last question to ask of you. Emerging markets are at the center stage of the fault line in the world, it seems. India seems to be a shining spot of sorts. I have two questions to ask of you. What's your call on India? Where do you see valuations in this market? We have seen financial market turmoil around the world, and India hasn't been an exception either.
Well, India just had an amazing run with the Modi election. And India was the world's star. And that was great for India and great for people who invested. Now, India's equity markets have backed off. I'm not sure what it is now, somewhere around 20%.
That's right, yes. 20% off the...
Right, off the top. And the currency's been weaker. And that's because some of the reforms are stalled in the upper house. So as an outsider, it's not my place really to give advice to India, but as an observer, if the upper house and the administration could find a way of working together, that would be exceptionally positive for the perception of India. There would be much more foreign direct investment, more jobs created for Indians, and altogether would be a wonderful outcome.
So safe to assume here that Stephen Schwarzman worries about the pace of economic reforms in India that have slowed down in the last 1 year, 6 months?
Am I worried? Why don't you,
as an investor?
Why don't you ask the average Indian if they're worried? I think there are a lot of people who worry about that.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. It's a pleasure. Stephen Schwarzman in conversation here with ET Now.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ET Now, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ET Now Live. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ET Now.